Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 18th March 2023. My name is T.S.V. Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Haribol TRSV nectar NECTAR nectar. In this particular vlog, we talk about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned from the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video is no exception to that rule. It is only a continuation of what we have been doing in my past videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of my other videos. We have been discussing in the past few days about the subtle bodies, the gross body, and the soul of a living entity in its journey of infinite births and deaths. We have also discussed about how after the so-called death of the soul, which does not die but it's only the gross body that gets dropped, the three subtle bodies of the same living entity keep floating in the ether endlessly, waiting in the wings to be reincarnated in a next birth and to work out one slice of its prarabdha karma. Because every living entity has three bodies, and this has been going on for times immemorial, the population of subtle bodies floating in the ether is at least 4 times that of the complete global population in our material universe. In that process, we were discussing about how a soul initially incarnates in various species where its destiny does not work or come into existence, but the memories remain. And once it incarnates for the first time as a human being, its journey of destiny starts. However, the memories of the same soul in its various incarnations in different species is used in the first birth as a human being to shape the lives of that particular human being. Destiny starts only then. Now, here we have also known that for the incarnations in various species, only the etheric senses are usually alive, and in some domesticated animals' case, it is a little bit of astral mind of feelings and emotions that comes alive for that particular living entity. However, the causal intelligence of logic is either dormant or not at all uh, existing in that particular living entity. Causal intelligence comes only when this particular person becomes a human being as an incarnation. At least, even though it had been existing before, only when the person incarnates as a human being does his or her causal intelligence of logic comes into fore. However, before that, we would talk about various incarnations in the human species. You would appreciate that it is virtually a kaleidoscope of feelings, emotions, senses, logic, intelligence, experience, maturity, etc. in various living entities as human beings. Not all human beings are same. Vibrations caused by the three subtle bodies may reach the brain of the gross body of that particular living entity, but which one to take, which one not to take, which one can understand, and which one the other is this living entity is not able to understand depends upon the destiny, intelligence, maturity, education, etc. of that particular living entity. Initially, all human beings, almost 70% of them, listen only to their five etheric senses, that is, smell, taste, touch, hearing, and sight. This happens to 70% of human living entities in the society. Only 20 to 25% also listen to their astral mind of feelings and emotions. Only 5% or less listen to the causal intelligence and its vibrations and act accordingly. These are the people who are called intellectuals or cerebral living human entities. There is a reason. This logical side of humans does not come to the fore unless and until the human being is experienced, matured, and educated enough to activate it. Further, you would appreciate that the etheric senses subtle body is closest to the gross body, which is close to the material universe, whereas the subtle body of causal intelligence and logic is closest to the soul and the supersoul, and hence it is far away from the gross body. Hence, vibrations from the causal body to the brain takes time, or they don't reach that place at all till the human being or the living entity is qualified enough to recognize them, attract them, and act accordingly. The astral mind of feelings and emotions lies in between. It is closer to the gross body than the causal body of intelligence, but it is not as close as the subtle body of etheric senses. Let us make it very clear. First is the gross body, which represents the living entity in a human life or in any species in the material universe. A person, a living entity, is identified to with his or her gross body. Behind this gross body, which is so close to the material universe, comes the subtle body of etheric senses, which are five in number. They are sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Behind that is the astral mind of feelings and emotions, and behind that is the subtle body of causal intelligence and cold and calculated logic. It is very difficult to understand this logic for a common human living entity. In many cases, people consider their own whims and fantasies and decisions based on them as logical, whereas it is not. Now, we will like to categorize human living entities according to their status in the society. They are as follows. There are beggars, criminals, small-time criminals, gangsters, killers, rapists. Then there are workers, laborers, supervisors, poor men, blue-colored workers, white-colored clerks, etc., teachers, intellectuals, librarians, sports people, creative people, lawyers, doctors, engineers, etc. And ultimately, in the material world, there come the scientists, the discoverers, the philosophers, and the intellectuals. Only when this person turns towards the soul, which is so near to this causal body of intelligence, does the same person gravitate towards spiritualism. Before proceeding further, let me remind you that up till now we are discussing only about the material side of a human living entity. The spiritual side has not yet come. Even when a particular person goes spiritual, he or she is only attracted towards soul. He or she may not be totally on the soul or super soul level, but because it is very high, and as far as a common human living entity is concerned, this person needs a lot of patience, perseverance, meditation, contemplation, and practice to reach the level of the soul, the self realization, the liberation, deliverance, etc. We shall talk about this in my next video. Please let me know what you think of my talk on this particular subject. Kindly give me your own expert opinions, thoughts, and ideas so that we may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan